Hey, kiln opening Monday. What? I know, usually kiln openings happen on Sundays, once in a while on a Saturday, but on Monday? No, never. But today, oh yeah, today we are doing one because I glazed pots and they went in the kiln and they got fired and now it's ready to be unloaded. So we're gonna do a kiln opening. That's how those things work. And I have my studio composition glaze notebook. This is like my super secret combo Bible. This is where I write down everything about glazing, right? This is like my secret potion notebook, secret glaze potion notebook. So what I do in here is keep track of what I've done for glazes and the kiln firing, what temperature it went to, the date of the firing, and then I also will check my kiln. This one is a L&L E23T, and I have a Genesis controller, so I can check the graph. I can see all of my information for every firing, and I can keep track of what's happening in the kiln. So let's open it up. I have got a bunch of Amoco glazes in here. I can't remember what else. A lot of tiles, a lot of tiles. Some of you might have been following along and you know my daughter has leopard geckos, and we did some research into creating our own substrate, and we made tiles for their substrate. So if you have leopard geckos and you want to know how to make your own substrate, we're going to be mixing up the soil for it later. And I'll tell you the info on that if you need it. So, all right. So we have got the awesomeness right here on the top. Here I have my cone pack. Now I have a little story about cone packs. You know, I always use cone packs in my firings. And here's the thing. I only had one left. I made new ones. They're back there on the counter. I don't think you can see them. But I only had one cone pack left for this firing, and I didn't want to wait to make new cone packs and wait for them to dry. So I did the unheard of, unspeakable thing of firing a kiln with only one cone pack. Just one. That's it on the top. But anyhow, cone 5, and this is an older one. It's a 5, 6, 7. So cone 5 all the way down, very good. I had to use one of my old ones. I wasn't happy about it, but it's all I had. So I had to make more. So make sure you make your cone packs before you fire. All right, we have got some goodies in here. We're just going to jump right in with an Amoco mug, Amoco glazed mug. This is a wheel thrown mug, and this was a glaze combo I did in my last kiln opening, and I had a lot of great feedback on it. And my daughter wanted one for herself, but she was sitting in the studio with me as I'm glazing, like wanting me to finish. This was the last piece going in the kiln. And she was kind of rushing me, and I didn't put as many coats of glaze as I did on this one. So let's look at these two side by side. Same glazes, more coats. So on both of them are 3 coats of Sky Celadon, and then I did 3 coats of Emerald Falls. This one only has 2. This one has, on top of that, 3 coats of Blue Lagoon. This one only has 1. So this is what you get when you cut down on your coats. Beautiful, lovely, but not as much happening, possibly, as this one. So this is 3 coats of everything. This is 3, 2, 1. So it's a good comparison. So if you're getting results at home and they're not the same as what I'm getting, maybe it's the amount of glazes you're using. So if you wanted this and you got this, maybe that's it. It's still gorgeous. It's still great. She's still going to steal this one and leave me with this one, I can tell you right now. But it's what it is. This is it. The plate from my scalloped rim class. So this class came out Friday. In the class, I show you how to make the plate from a slab. And we use GR pottery forms to drape it over. So it's a draped plate. And we make our tall raised foot. And we put our holes in it so that we're able to hang it. Right? So this is a piece we'll hang on the wall. So we're not using it, it can just go on the wall, right? So it's not taking up space in our cabinets. But I showed how I glazed it in the class under glazing. And this is the finished product. I think that's a win. I know the glare is terrible. Again, 3 coats of Sky Celadon, Emerald Falls to about here, 3 coats, and then 3 coats of Blue Lagoon. You can see right to here, sort of drippy, and a little swirl of Blue Lagoon in here. But I show you exactly how to glaze it 100% to get this result in the class. So if you want to see how to glaze to get this, you got to watch the class. It's in there. It's like that spaghetti sauce. Everything's in there, right? It's in there. So that's that plate, and the hanging is good because we all only have so much room in our homes and in our studios. So this sweet thing, this yumminess right here, I am pretty pleased with this. So this is 3 coats of ancient copper, that's Amoco ancient copper, and then 3 coats of textured turquoise. But I did the ancient copper to here, so 3 coats of ancient copper to right here, right? And then 3 coats of textured turquoise to here. So the textured turquoise overlaps the ancient copper, and you get this really, really, really lovely, gorgeous, beautiful glaze result. So you see the ancient copper peeking through the turquoise. And there, the inside is just 3 coats of textured turquoise. Hey, hey, hi Teresa. Teresa just got a new fur baby in her life. I just want to say that made me really happy to see that. I know. Jennifer goes, I know. So who wants to have yummy cereal or ice cream or something out of this bowl? Who said that? There's a me echoing in the studio. Who could that be? Yeah, it's a great glaze combo. Textured turquoise and ancient copper. And like I was saying, most of these are Amoco glazes. And I work with Clayscapes Pottery. They sell Amoco glazes. And I do have we have a sponsor offer with them. You can save with the Explore 10 code 10% off. So you remember when we did the slip trailing demo live on Wednesday's broadcast? Here's the finished slip trailed little dish. So there it is, right here. You did, he needs a new food bowl. Teresa, this is too little for your new fur baby, Teresa. I don't think it would work. No. But this is that sweet little slip trail dish. We use Speedball Aqua Underglaze in a bulb trailer, and that's pretty awesome. So that's a sweet little dish. And then I did a glaze test. 3 coats of smoky Merlot. If you have texture, it's too much. Just so you know, don't do that. 2 coats, you can get away with. 3 coats, too thick. But I always use little things to test and see. Now, you can still see there's some texture shining through, but, oh, would my spearmint go over ancient copper? Oh, yes, it would. I've actually tested. I have got, I've got some stuff to share with you about my spearmint, which we're going to have 2 new glazes of mine coming out with Clayscapes Pottery, I think this week, my Lake Blue and Cobblestone. And if you use my spearmint on top of ancient copper, it should work pretty well. Any iron-bearing glaze that you put my spearmint over, you're going to get something awesome. All right, so I've got another one in here that was a test right here. And what I have stuck on the bottom is just a little kiln stilt. So this will either pop off like that. I just popped it off. And then you'll have to sand the little bumps down. This is one made by a company called Star. And this is a planter. A rounded bottomed planter. And what I'm going to do is tie some cord around here and hang it like that. And so it'll be a fabulous hanging planter. And the glaze on it, it's actually 3 glazes. It is textured amber brown on the whole thing 3 times. Blobs of smoky Merlot here and there. Do you see the smoky Merlot blobs? And cosmic tea dust on the rim and kind of swirled around a little bit. Look at this. Is this nice? Look at the smoky Merlot happening. Here, I'm going to scooch everybody there. Look at that. Oh, I got to get my face out of there. The camera wants to focus on my face. So you can see the little nubbins there at the bottom. I would just go ahead and file those down. How do I sand the bumps without scratching the glaze? So I use a tool made by Diamond Core Tools. They have these little sanding sticks almost. And you can just go in and just that little tiny bit. You can also use a Dremel tool that they make, or any company makes, a diamond bit. So the Dremel tool is not made by Diamond Core Tools, but the diamond bit, you just use that and you just go bzz, 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 and that's it. Because it's a little fine tip and you just touch here. Honestly, this is pretty smooth as it is, but just with a little zip of that, you'll be good. And I could have glazed the bottom and not glazed the rim, and I could have fired it this way, right? Could have fired it upside down, but I was using a brown glaze on a white clay body. I didn't want a bright white line here. I wanted it to be dark. So the glaze on the planter, it's 3 glazes. It is textured amber brown, that's by Amoco, 3 coats on the entire thing and on the inside too. And then I did 1 blobby thick coat of the smoky Merlot, and you can see I just kind of blobbed it on here and there. And then I did 2 coats of Cosmic Tea Dust on the rim, and I kind of blobbed some Cosmic Tea Dust around there. Look at that. It's nice. It's really nice. So that was just kind of playing with glazing. But look at that. When the light hits it, this is a really nice glaze combo. A new use for your Dremel. I use Dremel all the time for sanding down things. If you don't have a Dremel tool and you got a birthday coming up, you should get a Dremel tool. It's a really handy thing to have around the studio, just to have in your life. We'll go ahead and do these. I've got some garden bells right here. So some of you already made garden bells in my garden bell class. It's a great big long bell. It has more parts to it. We got this right here. This is the little wind catcher, and this will hang below it, and as the wind hits it, the clapper will hit the side of the bell, and it will make this beautiful sound. And the glazes on this are Amoco, Celadon, Marigold, Tangelo, Poppy. And on this part, I did Marigold and Poppy, so that when it's hanging, I can choose which way I hang it. It can be this way or this way. And again, see if I can get it to, it'll kind of sound like that, but not, you're not holding it so it resonates more. This, I used the Stilts as well so that I could glaze both sides. Ooh, Drew says he has a birthday coming up. So you need a Dremel tool? So I decided to do 2 bells because I had 2 in the studio to be done, and 2 options for glazing. So that one was a bunch of Celadons, right? The Marigold, the Tangelo, and the Poppy. And you opened your kiln last night, lots of small pressed trinket dishes and garden bell and garden markers. Deborah, awesome. I love the handle on your, yes. So Judy, so one of our members, Judy, made a garden bell and she put a handle on the top. I love the handle on it. I love the handle idea. So this is one of my garden bells. I think this is one I did in the class. The glaze is Amoco Aqua Celadon, and then Lustrous Jade. Lustrous Jade is so yummy on the tippity top. And then I did the same thing on the little wind catcher here, Aqua and Lustrous Jade. So it's 2 different kind of looks. We have the bright colored one back here with the Marigold and the Tangelo and the Poppy, and then we have this more subtle aqua one there. So it's just a little different. So I get asked all the time about using these kiln stilts or kiln sitters in my kiln, and these are made by a company called Star, and I fire them to cone 5. They do go to cone 10. I believe they even go to cone, yeah, I think they can go to, well, I wouldn't say 12, but I'm pretty sure you'd be safe at 10. And I cannot give you a resource, just check with your ceramic supplier. I got mine from a potter who was selling a bunch of stuff, and I got a bucket of these. So that's where I got them. But you can get these from your clay supplier, and the company is Star that makes them, and they do go to cone 10. So just ask for that when you get it. Yeah, Paul, I love the blues and greens too. So you don't have a kiln, but this is nice. You're living vicariously, vicariously through me. And so when I make my garden bells, there's a lot of pieces and parts that have to go into it, because you have the bell, but then you have your wind catcher, and you have beads for decoration, and I like to do little sculpted birdies on the top. So here's my two birdies, one that's a poppy birdie and one that is an aqua birdie right here. So these will go on top, and they've got the little kiln stilts on them, and again, they just pop right off. You just pull them right off and then sand it down. Easy peasy. So we got those little guys. And then I've got a bunch of beads. Same thing with your beads. I glaze them all the way around, so I fire them on the little stilts. So you just pull them off like that. And then I'll go back and sand them later. Now sometimes I will have a teeny weeny bead, like I did here. So this bead was too small to go on one of these. So what I did is I took 3 of them, put them really close to each other, and I set it on the 3 little prongs that it made. So that's the way you deal with teeny weeny things. You build your own kind of support structure using 3 of these instead of 1. Ceramic Shop has them. Okay, so Teresa's sharing those. And I've got a few more. Usually I just tap them on my kiln shelf. Tap, tap, tap. And I have a bucket of them by my kiln. So that way I don't lose them, I just keep track of them. Can you reuse the stilts? Of course, yeah. I've been using some of these for over 10 years. They're made with nichrome wire and in a ceramic support. So as long as the nichrome wire doesn't wear off, you'll be fine. All right, so here's what I was mentioning about the leopard gecko substrate. Riley and I have been looking at alternative options, and you can make your own. So we made a bunch of tiles together using my Moroccan tile rolling pin, and we used Chai Gloss Amoco glaze. I really like it a lot, like a real lot. I don't know if y'all can, look how nice they came out. So we made 4x4s, we made 4x2s, we made 2x2s, because we want to have enough tiles to fill their habitat, and we want to make sure it'll fit end to end. And this was 2 coats of the Chai Gloss, because I really wanted it to be more earthy and orange. So that's what we have in here. And here's a few more that I can show you. If you go, let me show you these 2, because you don't need to see them all. But this is 1 thinner, well, 2 thinner coats, 1 slightly thicker, 2 slightly thicker. All right, thinner, thicker. When it's thinner, it's more orange rusty. When it's thicker, it's more the cream coming out. So you can see, they both are good. They really are. So you can use, yes, so Arlene uses nichrome rods and thread beads onto rods. And you can make your own racks. And I actually have a class, I show you how to make your own bead rack. It's really, really easy to do. It is. When I'm just firing like 2 or 3 beads though, I don't want to put the whole rack in. I'll just stick them on a sitter like that. So anyhow, we have like 87 of these tiles in this kiln. But you can make your own tiles if you want to make your own countertop, or if you want to make your own backsplash in your kitchen, right? Or just a little table. So if you wanted to do a little side table or something, And you don't need a certain type of clay for tiles, not at all. You can use any clay you want for tiles. So I've got, like I said, a lot of tiles in this kiln firing. So you're going to see a lot of these happening. And then I let my daughter help me glaze. I should tile the counter behind you. Yeah, that counter is my work table. It would be, I do lay clay out on that. It's actually a wooden counter right now. So I'm not going to tile that. That's my workspace. So I would tile other spots in the studio, but not that space. Yeah, that's the filming table. It would be difficult to lay wet clay on that. So this little tiny dish is glazed in cherry blossom and aqua celadon. And it's a little pressed dish. We made this in a live broadcast, and I let Riley glaze it. The thickness of my clay slabs, about 3/8 of an inch for tiles. You actually want your tiles kind of thick, because if they're too thin, they will warp. You need to have some structure there. So honestly, most things I make, I roll out a slab that's 3/8 of an inch thick, and then I thin it down to 1/4 inch. Maybe a tiny bit smaller than that. Just depends. I did a tray. I did do a little tray. This is Smoky Merlot, 2 heavy coats. You can still see the texture. And I used, so Amoco Smoky Merlot here, Mako Dark Flux here. Oh, Catherine, a very good question. Do all stilts fire to cone 10? No. Some stilts only do low fire, so that's 0.4. Some might go to 5. So what will happen is the wire will melt, and it won't hold your piece up. So check to make sure that your stilts will go to cone 5 or 10 or wherever you're going to. So using that Moroccan tile rolling pin to make a platter, this one is GR Pottery Forms, one of their new plaque designs. It has these cute little kind of nips on the end. Look how sweet this little tray is. Cute, right? Yeah, make sure if you are using stilts that the ones you're using will go to the cone you are firing to, or else you will have a little bit of a mess once you fire it. Like fusing and melting and not necessarily what you want. So we've got a lot of shelves of tile happening. So what class was the tray? I didn't do a square. Did I do a square tray class? Oh, the baking tray. It's a version of the baking tray class that I did, which it's like a dip tray. So it's a triangle, dip, dish, and then the big rectangle. I just used one of the rectangles he has that has the little nipped in sides. I think it's called baking dish or baking tray. Kev, you know that class? He's looking. He's looking. I've got more over there. So it's just that big rectangle that I made it so it could go and be used in the oven. That one won't go in the oven. That's just a serving tray. But the class is there, and I show you how to make handles or no handles. Your choice. So do Mako glazes and Amoco glazes play well together, Dana? Such a good question. Mostly, yeah. I've done some testing using Mako and using Amoco, and for the most part, I haven't seen any problems at all. You know, they don't really like have issues. They like each other. They are friends, which I think is awesome, because you might have a color from Amoco you love and a color from Mako you love too, and you think, oh, those would look good together, and they might. I do know that Mako's Lavender Mist and Amoco's Smoky Merlot look amazing together. Put some dark flux on top. Wonder where that bowl went. I don't know where the bowl is. Maybe I can find the plant. Hold on. I have a planter, but I don't know where I put it. I think it went in the house. So I had a little circle slab vase planter that was done in the Smoky Merlot and the Amoco Lavender Mist. So these are just more of those tiles. And as I said, There's a lot. So I'm just going to pull those out because it's the exact same glaze. We didn't vary the glaze at all. But they all came out pretty fabulous. And you can see how thick they are, like this, once they're done. Let me step out of the frame. Camera wants to focus on faces. So you can see the thickness. How do I keep my tiles from warping? Sharon, I'm actually going to do on this week's live broadcast, making tiles. And we can talk more about that then. But what you do is you make your tile, and then you're going to lay it down on a board, upside down, meaning the pattern face down, and then you're going to put another board on top, and then you're going to weigh it down with something. Usually I'll stack more boards on it because I'm making a lot of tiles, but you need to press them flat and keep them flat until they're 100% dry, and then when you fire them, make sure your kiln shelves are nice and flat. Because if you have a warped kiln shelf, that will warp your tiles. And you might not realize over time, your kiln shelves can do this thing called cupping, where they just start to bow a bit. So you can always check your kiln shelves to see if they're doing that. If you're noticing a lot of warping on your pieces, that could be the reason why. If you go with thicker kiln shelves or the advancer kiln shelves, those are less likely to warp and cup. Oh, more tiles. It's just going to be happening. So what am I doing with the tiles? We are going to be creating a substrate for our leopard geckos. So we have two leopard geckos. Their names are May and Haku, and they're gorgeous. And we currently just have your standard kind of felt substrate. And we want to create a more enriching environment for our geckos. So we are going to create an area that has the tiles, and they will sit on a sand and topsoil mix. But we're also going to have an area that will have like digging enrichment, so that they'll have a place where they can dig, because a lot of people will have lizards or snakes and not provide them with enrichment, and they need that. They need something to do. They will get bored, and just like you will play with your cat or your dog, you got to provide things for your reptiles too. So we are going to have a really nice environment for them.
A lot of questions about how you fire them, so I'm going to roll
Yes.
up to the top.
Yeah. If the shelves have cupped, is there a way to fix that, or do you not need to buy brand new ones? Usually, Julie, if they've cupped, sometimes you can sand them down with, really sand that shelf down, get all of the kiln wash off, flip it over and fire on the other side, and it might bow back the other way, or it might crack. You really, if that's happening, what's going on is your shelves are either too thin, or the shelves aren't made for the temperature you're going to. So you might need to get shelves that will go hotter. I will show I show when it's done. So Jennifer, the tiles, we do have a heating pad under the glass in their habitat, and that's in one section because they have a warm hide. That's a little rock cave they have to hide in. So this is about my lizards. So they have their warm hide. They have a moist hide, which is where they go to do their little business and to shed. It helps them do that. Then they have a cool hide, which doesn't have any heat. It's all furthest away from the heating pad, and that's where they go if they overheat. And then they have different levels of habitats in there for them to play on, and some plants that are faux plants, not real plants. So it's interesting. It's really cool. So can you pour glaze if it's a brush-on glaze? Anything to look out for? You can pour on a brush-on glaze. Just be mindful it doesn't go too thick, because it could start to crawl and pull away. So you're going to make tiles for your kitchen. You should, Melissa. Yes. A little biology here, right? Learn a little bit about some reptiles. So here's what the tiles look like. Chai gloss, 2 coats, folks. Gorgeousness happening. This would be, if you have wooden countertops, how yummy would this glaze be? Doing biology homework and we're talking about reptiles. That's biology. So I'm going to put them back here. And like I said, I believe I made 87 tiles. And I glaze fire them flat but when I bisque fire them, I stand them on their ends. So they just stand up straight up and down. You can bisque fire them laying flat. You don't have to. They can stand on their ends and be fine. But you'll notice these are flat. I don't have any warping. I don't have any cupping. And that's just something I learned after many mistakes over the years. I'm a self-taught tile maker. And I'll share with you Wednesday. We'll make tiles together. And I'll give you some tips. Now, my daughter and I made these together. I rolled the texture out into the slabs. She cut them. So they're not perfect at all. They're not perfect 4x4 squares because she hand cut each one. And I let her because she wanted to. And you know what? At the end of the day, she was making them for her geckos. So I let her do it. As you should let your kids do those things, right? Your deviled egg platter came out of the kiln. Yay! Very exciting. Now you have to break it in with some deviled eggs. Now we're going to start talking about food. I'm going to have to go make some deviled eggs too. All right, so we're almost done. There's not much left in the kiln. Well, actually, there's some really good stuff down there. There's not much left except all this awesome stuff. A few more tiles. I'll get these. So we got 3 more tiles. That's the end of the tiles. They're out. Nice little stack of tiles in there. Trying to keep up with the comments. So hi from Sweden. Welcome. So we got another bowl. Oh, this was a good one. Oh, I know. Ooh. Ah. Ee. Look at it. Oh, yeah. How nice is that? There's the inside, too. So now you want to make tiles for your bearded dragon. So Angel, look into it and see what your bearded dragon needs for substrate. We're going to be making one that's specific for leopard geckos. Make sure your beardy can have what we're going to make for our geckos, because even though they're lizards, they need different things. So this right here, want to know what this is? I'm going to tell you because I think I remember mostly, but I want to get the combos exact. I want to get this, look at that. Oh, and then there's the bottom. So I'll tell you what, it's ancient copper, and on the bottom 3/4, not right here, 3 coats of ancient copper. I know that because I remember doing that. But what else is happening here? What else is going on with this blue to copper? Wow, that's really pretty. So the bowl, it is ancient copper 3/4 down, right? And that is 3 coats. Then I used blue rutile. The top quarter is blue rutile, just here, just the rim, blue rutile, and on the inside, blue rutile. Then I did 3 coats of Arctic blue from here up. So the top third, I would say, top third has Arctic blue overlapping the rutile blue and overlapping the ancient copper. So that's what we have going on there. So you can see that. Nice. It's like a mountain bowl. It is. It's like a mountain sky. So pretty. Wow. I haven't played with the ancient copper much, and I had some bowls I had to glaze, so I thought I'd give it a go. Tiles are perfect for beardies, easy to clean. And do I have a class on the rectangle egg plate? Yes, I do. Yeah, it's called an egg tray, and I do have a class on making the rectangle on clayshare.com. So we have that. So one of the great things about using tiles for your lizards is because they can be sanitized, so it's a healthier environment than using those felt substrates. Those things can harbor bacteria, and if you really care about your little reptile friends, you don't want that to happen. So happy with this bowl. Whoa, bowl is yummy. Yeah, I'm happy with the bowl. We got a couple pour overs, and we've got a mug. So so Ancient Copper is from Amoco, yes. And inside is blue rutile with a little drizzly of Arctic blue. That's what the little drips are. So it's blue rutile, 3 coats on the inside, Arctic blue dripping down. So that's what's happening on the inside of that bowl. It was pretty sweet. Some little pourers. I use these for maple syrup. You can use these for cream. You can use these for gravy. Aqua with lustrous jade right here. This one. Sky blue with some Emerald Falls and Blue Lagoon. I didn't want to hide my texture, so I didn't go very heavy with the sky and Emerald Falls and Blue Lagoon, but it still looks really pretty. And this right here is that Moroccan tile. I'd rolled out a bunch of slabs. I needed to use it, right? So almost everyone's out of Ancient Copper right now because it's gorgeous. Because it's gorgeous, right? And then I did another pourer, and I have a mug too. Okay, I was playing with Smoky Merlot. I would say 2 heavy coats, and then I put the Cosmic Tea Dust on the rim to see what would happen. Not too bad, kind of fun, right? I know, on a Monday I'm here. Hey, Julia and Stoke-on-Trent, how you doing? So little pourer right here, cute little thing, fun. That's a class on clay share, fun project. Great way to use up a little bit of clay to make something. Like you can actually make a thing you can use from scrap clay. And we got 2 more things. 3 coats of Smoky Merlot is too many on your textured pieces, but I did it anyway. Because that's how it works out. Looks gorgeous though. Never mind the texture is a little obscured. So Smoky Merlot, 3 coats, Cosmic Tea Dust, 3 coats on the top, just to see what would happen. And that's what happens. Nice, right? You just made the pourers and you love them. Yeah, they're so easy to like make and fun to use. Great gifts if you're looking for gift ideas for people. I wonder if I'd played with Cosmic Tea Dust. Yeah, so the great thing about Cosmic Tea Dust is it's a glaze that has mica in it. And that's what creates these little sparkly bits. And it is a brown-based, an iron-based glaze that has the mica in it. So anything that you think would look good with brown, which is everything, honestly. Blues look good with it, pink looks good with it. You can put a little Cosmic Tea Dust on your rim and you'll get those mica sparkles and you'll get a nice contrasting color. So, Smoky Merlot is one of my favorite colors. I just love that yummy purple. It's really, really, but it's not an obnoxious color. It's like subtle and, you know, smoky. And we have one piece left. This was from the Underglaze test plate class, which just came out this morning. That's right, the brand new class. In that class, I used all of Amoco's velvet underglazes that they make, right? So I've got all the warm colors. So here is a test plate with all of Amoco warm underglazes. So this test plate is a combination of their underglazes and my clear glaze on top. So this is my 2167. That's the glaze I put on top. And this was fired to cone 5. Now in the class I show you how to do this, but on it is written the names of every underglaze I used. So I have these labels. You can actually see right there what it is. And then I have Amoco Velvet Underglazes Cone 5 2167 clear. So I know what I use for a glaze. And the black line is underglaze pencil, so I can see if it's an opaque or if it's a translucent color. So when we look at intense yellow, yeah, that's intense, but we can still see that black line. So we know that it is going to be translucent. And what I did is I did 1 coat on the entire petal, And that's what I'm calling these scallops, or scallops, right? I did 1 coat, and then I did 2 coats, and then 3 coats. So you can really tell with the red here, you can see the different layers. And this gives me a great color reference if I just want to do a thin watered down layer. I can use it as watercolor pottery. And look at the rose. Look how light that rose went. But you also see the colors next to each other. So if you're looking at bright red versus radiant red versus red, you can see this is a much bluer red than this red. This is more yellow orange, more blue here. Another orangey one. So you can see all of the, I know it says 2176 because I got slightly dyslexic writing that out. It's 2167, that's correct. Oh, I know. I know I transposed those numbers when I was writing it. I know I did. Don't you guys do that sometimes too? I do it all the time. I'll be saying one thing and write down another. Numbers get me all the time. Maybe I am slightly dyslexic, but I promise you, the glaze is 2167. Although it says 2176 on my plate, I will have to somehow figure out how to amend that. Thanks for chat. Judy's like, I know. I was hoping nobody noticed the numbers and just listened to the words coming out of my mouth. Like, it's clear, 2167. That's the glaze. I know it says 76, but I promise you, it's 67. I'm just gonna put my finger over it. 2167. That's the glaze. And I used Underglaze pencil. I know, Judy, don't be sorry. I'm human. We're all human. We all make mistakes, right? And I wrote 2176 on my plate. I know what glaze it is. It's going to hang on the wall right next to my Speedball plate. And I've got another one using the cool colors from Amoco. Not the cool like, yeah, we're the cool colors, but the cool like the blues and purples and greens, those colors. And that I'll be putting up later. So we have 2 blacks. We have jet black and velour black. So you can see them right next to each other. They're very close. Jet black is warmer than velour black. So if you're looking for a black that has warm undertones, you want jet black. If you want cool undertones, you want velour black. You're dyslexic and you do it all the time. Maggie, I hear you. I do it all the time too. And I'm usually pretty good, but sometimes I will transpose stuff and I catch it. I didn't catch it here though. And I must have not caught it in the class. So if you watch the class, folks, guess what? It's 2167. There's nothing at all to feel bad about though. I don't want anybody sorry or anything because it's just how it is, right? I'm just going to use Sharpie to fix it. So my clear recipe is on clayshare.com. Under resources, it's glossy clear 2167. 2167 Fahrenheit is actually cone 5, and it's free. You can just go print it out and make it. Go make it. So this is this one, and I will do another one. Oh, and I did sign it all officially right there. Right? I hate it when that happens when we slip up and we accidentally write the wrong thing. It's what it is. So the colors here were velour black, jet black, white, ivory beige, teddy bear brown, chocolate brown, red brown, terracotta, cinnamon, bright red, radiant red, red, light pink, rose, a rosé, salmon, peach, coral, flame orange, real orange, intense yellow, yellow, deep yellow, and straw. So that's the colors I used here. The coral is their newest Underglaze color right there, but I love that you can see what peach and salmon look like next to each other too. So really good reference for anybody that needs to have it. Now, sell it. Make Underglaze plates and sell them. So I was in Paris a few years ago, and I went to the Sèvres ceramic factory, and they have these plates, a little smaller, all over their factory. They use them as a reference for their overglaze enamels, for their lusters, and all their finishes. So the Sèvres factory, which has been around for centuries, have been using these Underglaze test plates since goodness knows, 1746 or something like that. But I saw them there and I was like, brilliant. And this was like 5, 6 years ago now. And ever since then, I just love the idea of making a plate. You can hang it on the wall because it's got its holes, right? And you hang it up, and then you just look at it. You're like, what glaze, what underglaze will I use? Pick one from here. Now, the other thing is, if you have a bunch of Amoco glazes or Mako glazes, and you want to see what they look like, you could use them on the plate. So you could apply the glaze to the little petals, still label it, put a clear glaze in the center, maybe Amoco's clear glaze in the center, and then you would have marigold, and you would have tangelo, and poppy, and wasabi, and sky blue, and jade, and all the other, or rainforest, or whatever you have for glazes from Amoco or Mako, blue hydrangea, celadon bloom, any of those. And that way you have a reference on one plate. It can just hang, so you're not messing around with teeny tiny little tiles that you might lose, and you just hang this on your wall, like that, boom, on the wall. There it is. There's your reference. It's staring you in the face all the time. All right, so that's it. That's all I have. It's, how did I like the Amoco versus Speedball? Let's grab my Speedball plate. You ask, I'm gonna grab it. So, when I first started making pottery, I used Amoco because I didn't know Speedball made underglazes. But I found out Speedball makes underglazes. They have 24 colors, but I have 12 new ones coming out, so that will give them, I think they're going to get rid of a couple of them. So I won't say they'll have 36. I think they're getting rid of a few. But these are their original 24 colors, which fit perfectly on my plate because it has 24 scallops. So I was able to use all of Speedball's underglazes on one plate. That does it say 2167? No, just cone 6 glossy. This is on porcelain though. This is on B-Mix. See the difference in the tone? B-Mix is a warmer clay. And at the time, I was only using porcelain. Now I use B-Mix too. How do I feel about the Amoco versus Speedball? I think they're both really great underglazes. I would say they're pretty comparable. The difference being Speedball has less colors. Amoco has like 140 million color underglazes, and Speedball has 24. But you can mix them infinitely. So you can make your own glaze colors. Look how cool this looks though. Oh, I love it. It's awesome. We'll just be using glaze and color families, a blues plate, a greens plate. Right, Deborah, that's a good idea, and that's why I did this one. So I would have like warm colors, and then I'll do one with cool colors, because you want them to go together, and warm colors really like each other a lot, and cool colors like each other a lot. So you can stick with like tertiary colors and stuff, right, that are warm, that like each other. So those are like, you know, not the primaries and not the secondaries. That's the next layer out, but we won't have to get into that. So can you join ClayShare even though you live in England? 100% absolutely, positively. ClayShare is online, so you can join anywhere in the world, watch us anytime, day or night. I do these live broadcasts. You know, I pop in every once in a while, but the classes are there for you to watch anytime you want. So the glaze plate, underglaze test plate class, that's there right now. You can go watch it. And here's the finished piece from that. So is porcelain the only one that fires pure white, Pat? They do have hangers, yes. So, and I show you how to put the hanger on in the class. Actually, in the scalloped rim plate class, I show you. Maybe I show you in this too, but it's the same plate. So they have wires strung through the holes so that they hang on the wall. The foot, see how nice and tall that foot is? That's so that we can get that wire in there and have the holes, and you can hang it up and you don't see the wire. It's kind of hidden. So Amoco can actually go to cone 10, so can Speedball. What happens is as you get hotter, some of the bright colors burn out. So this is a cone 5. I know these colors will be true to cone 5. If I go to cone 10, I'll see what they look like there, right? So porcelain fires pure white. Yes, although there is a white low fire clay, you can use that. Now, you could put white slip on your B-mix. You could get white slip, and that could be pure white, and that will fire white too. So depending on what you use, you can get around the porcelain, not spending the extra money on the porcelain or dealing with porcelain, which is very persnickety, right? Can you use a cardboard cake plate from Wilton? Yes, yeah, Penny. You're telling Flynn. Yes, Flynn. Cardboard cake plate from Wilton is what I used for this. I have them linked in the Amazon shop. Although GR Pottery Forms has some gorgeous rim templates, you can use them. But what I love about this is there's 24 scallops. So you can test 24 different glazes or underglazes with this plate, right? WC395 from Laguna fires cool white. Thank you. I've never used that clay, so try that out. B-Mix fires a creamy, warm white. I won't say it's a cream, no, but it's close. Difficult to mix underglazes because they're not exactly the same color wet as they are fired. Right, so what you need to do is know what you get. Like just over time, using your underglazes, you'll become familiar with them and you'll know what they look like. The other thing you can do is if you know you're going to mix your yellow and say your chartreuse together, or your yellow and your pine green, write down 50% yellow, 50% pine green, mix it up in a little container, put it on here and do a test. Just write down what you're mixing and do tests. That way you have a reference for that, so you know what it's going to look like, right? You're having a hard time finding B-Mix. The problem with B-Mix right now is I believe Laguna is shut down, and I don't think they're making any more right now. So it's hard to get it. There are other clays out there. You don't have to use B-Mix if you can't get it. So I'm trying to keep up. Let's see what else. All right, any other questions? There's the kiln opening. There was the Underglaze test plate, super fun. I'm really excited about these ancient copper combos. Oh, let's show this plate. Yeah, and this plate too, right here. This plate right here, that turned out awesome. Super happy with this. And right here, the yummy combos. Let me get the one with turquoise too. So this is ancient copper, blue rutile, and Arctic blue. And then this one is ancient copper with textured turquoise. So that's the two ancient copper bowls I did. Here's the inside, blue rutile 3 coats, Arctic blue kind of dripped down in, just textured turquoise on the inside of this. There we go. Gorgeous color combos. Playing with the ancient copper. I think this one got a little hotter by a couple of degrees than this. This is a little more matte. So, anyhow, that's what I got. Yeah, the blue-green plate turned out fabulous. I'm really happy with that. Ancient copper likes cone 6 for the bright color. Yeah, I think, Audrey, right here, if you see the bottom of this one, we've got the ancient copper really popping. This right here, it's a little more subtle, but no less gorgeous. Let me step out of the frame so it can really focus. But it is slightly more matte than this one. All right, that's all I have. That's it. That's what I got. So if y'all have any more questions, you know, you can always message me and I'll get back to you. I will have a live tile making demo on Wednesday. We're going to make some tiles, and that will be awesome. And are the sinks in the background? Those are just big bowls. The sinks are still drying. They are still slightly damp. The sinks take forever to dry. They're still over there. They will be in the next bisque fire, I hope. Fingers crossed, because I want to get those done. So if you make a sink, plan on it taking almost a month to dry, because if you rush it, it can crack or warp. So that's why it's taken me forever. Laguna, Cone 6 Laguna WC397. Okay, I see it now. So that's the light clay. A flux is a glaze. So what is a flux? Oh, let me share this information with you all. if you go to clayshare.com and under resources, I have put up my vocab list that I've compiled over years of working in ceramics, and it has ceramic materials and also terms. And in that you'll find flux and what flux means. Now Amoco makes glazes called flux. They have a light and a dark flux, and they cause other glazes to melt and run. A flux is basically something that melts. That's it. It melts. But I put those terms up, so think of it as a glossary or a vocab list for you all. Check it out. It's a free resource, clayshare.com, under resources. Print it out, keep it in your studio, put it in a binder, and have it on hand when you have a term that you come across and you don't know what it means. You can use that. Or if you have, you know what's happening, but you want to know what the term is, so you can get that there. And Kevin just shared that. Awesome. Colors on this: 3 coats of Amoco Sky Blue Celadon on the entire thing. Then 3 coats of Emerald Falls, also Amoco, to here and a little swirl in here. And then 3 coats of the Blue Lagoon on the rim and a little swirl in the center too. So there we have it. The sinks were not made on a live day. No, the sinks were made on a day I decided to throw like 300 pounds of clay. I was like, I got 300 pounds of clay. I'm going to throw it. Let's make sinks. Actually, my aunt is building a new house, asked me to make her a sink. I don't make people sinks, but for my aunt, I made a sink. I may turn it into a class, but that'll be down the line. We'll see. Oh, do I ever throw red clay? Sometimes. I do have 2 pottery wheels, one for white clay, one for red clay. So I have my dark clay, light clay wheels, and sometimes I do use darker clay. But most of the time I use light clay. Nothing against dark clay. I think it's fabulous. I don't always use it. That's all. Difference between Mishima and Sgraffito. Really easy. Sgraffito, your line is the negative space you're carving away. And with Mishima, you're creating an inlay. You're putting material into the line. So Sgraffito, you take away. Mishima, you put in. That's the difference. Inlay versus take away. All right. So flux under the glaze are less runny, more over runny. If you're using the Amoco fluxes, right, so you put them under or you put them on top. It's just they'll melt more. If they're encased with another glaze, they don't run quite as much. That's all I got, folks. I'm gonna go. It's sunny, a little chilly. We planted carrots this morning. What else did we plant? Just carrots. Dug up last fall's parsnips. So we did a little gardening, and I started the prototype for a new hand-building teapot class. So that'll be coming soon. That's all I got. All right, everyone. I'll catch y'all later. Bye. Be well. Stay safe. Make great pots.